welcome to another episode of
Mum
and Son. I'm Jay, I'm the son.
and I'm Alicia and I'm the mum.
Hope you're well and everyone is good, enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
We've been enjoying ourselves recently as well, been very productive.
Absolutely.
Working on a lot of things.
Keeping, things rolling. I hope you're doing that in your life, and that, what we've been talking about in the previous episodes. Hopefully you've been giving us your feedback and comments on how you're progressing and how you're doing and how life is taking you.
Yeah, how it's all taking you, where it's taking you, how it's turning out.
Yep.
And yeah, so many episodes, so hopefully they are helping, and the things we're mentioning you're at least trying to implement. And this is a journey, so everyone's trying to be better, and hopefully whatever you watch and we recommend, you can try and it's making a difference. Today's one is going to be about a topic that encompasses a lot of
what we've spoken about.
Yeah.
In many respects on many of the previous episodes. If you haven't watched them, don't forget to do so.
Yeah. This one is an exciting one because we've got the two polar opposites, right? Today we're talking about positivity.
Yeah.
We've talked about the negatives, or we can always talk about the negatives, but we're focusing on the positives today.
Definitely. Let's talk about positivity today, because it is so easy to allow negativity to seep into your life, to come through when you least expect it, and then before you know it, all these negative things are starting to happen. So this episode is going to be about kind of steering you back on a positive path.
Yeah.
If you are becoming negative, or things are happening in a negative way in your life, how is the best way to steer it back to the positive? And not just steer it back to the positive, remain positive,
That's true.
for the weeks, days, months ahead.
That's very
Would
true.
you reckon?
Yeah.
So what do you feel? I guess we all need to reach a point where we have an awareness that we are being negative, and that we need to focus on positivity. Because I think if you haven't got an awareness of it, then you will just be in that negative zone. So I think recognizing that you are in a negative and non-positive zone is probably the first thing to address. Would you reckon?
Yes, yeah, I think so. I think things like when it comes to positivity, I think it's more of a perception, or it's more of an outlook on life.
Yeah, true.
And because the same thing can happen to two different people, but someone could see it in a positive light, or the way I come back from this, I choose to approach it, or my view on how to respond to it is coming from a positive place. Whereas someone else same thing could happen, but they're seeing it in a negative way. So I think it's to do with people's perception.
I think that's good.
Or outlook.
I think that's really good, because, they always say, are you seeing the glass half empty or half full?
Yeah.
So that is a really good point in terms of it being a matter of your perception. How are you viewing the situation or whatever's happening to you? Are you viewing it negatively, or are you viewing it positively? And I guess what we can talk about as well is, if you are viewing it negatively, how to start viewing it positively.
Yes, yeah, because it's when you simplify it, it's just what we talked about, a point of view, this and that. And when you acknowledge if things are negative, we see them in a negative way, and you're aware of that, then you're right. That's the first step to saying, gosh, I'm really being negative about these things, or I'm seeing things in a very negative way. Maybe I need to be more positive, and so on. And as you said, it's almost like we'll talk about how that comes about, but the next part is, even when you are positive, then, as you said earlier, staying positive as much as you can.
Yeah.
That's where sometimes you can face challenges, because we do go through fluctuations.
Of course. I mean, I don't know. One of the things that, I use, obviously everybody's got their own different mechanisms to help them stay in the positive, but I you know, like things like affirmations and things,
Yeah.
and, you know, kind of self-help and empowerment to kind of draw you out of the negative things and into the positive. And you really have to be aware of how you are flowing. You know, that you can, if you can have an awareness, I would say, if we're going to start off with catching yourself out when you are being negative, or attuning yourself to recognizing, I am being really negative now, I need to do something about it. And I think having an awareness of where you are in life, what's taking place, what's happening, and then having a perception of, you know, am I seeing this negatively? You know, am I seeing this positively? And if it's negative, what are the positive things I can do? Or what are the positive things I can highlight about this situation, and try and pull myself back into more joy and positivity.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I think that,
say, like, if you were, you know, what would you recommend if, you know, you do get or find yourself moving towards negativity? How do you feel you stay in the positive?
My sort of approach and method of, if I'm going negative, to get back to positive, it's different for every type of thing. But let's say, for instance, it could be to do with I'm not sort of reaching something that I want to, or it could be something to do with my health, this and that. Because this could be a bit different, and we might do one on goal setting. On a different one. But usually I recognize, for me, it's always to do with this thing I want to achieve or reach, or this thing I'm working on. My actions may be more negative towards it because something in life is going on. Because sometimes in life there's negative things going on that are even outside of us, whether people are like watching news, or something with your friend happens, or they're going through a rough time and you feel for them, and there's or family members, there's so many different things. But when I recognize that my approach to life, or my views, or how I'm seeing things, or the words I'm saying are coming off more negative and wasteful, and as well as that my actions are, that's when I create that awareness on myself that something's not going on right. And then I say to myself, what is it that what is my focus or my aim that I need to be staying on? And then I look at the bigger picture, or I look at, this is what I should be doing, or this is the positive thing I want to achieve in life, or this is what I want to do. So with actions I'm doing now, the words that I'm doing now, this and that, am I gonna improve my life and be where I want to be, or is this gonna keep me stuck where I am? And most of the times you have to be brutally honest, as we've said we said on the previous episode, you have to be honest with yourself and self-reflection.
Yeah. So you're using self-reflection?
Basically, I'm using self-reflection, but I guess I just wanted to just give a bit more depth into negativity. Can sometimes be, for me, like, it could start off as negative thoughts, which can then lead to more negative words, not in a rude way, but just negative words, like your outlook on life now is starting to become a bit negative. Your outlook on yourself might be negative. Your outlook on opportunities might sound negative, and then your actions then start to follow that
and become
as well, and then become negative, become very stagnant. So that self-reflection is always a good gauge of, this doesn't feel right, I'm being too negative, why is this happening? And sometimes, as I said with goals, if I've set something, I'm like, actually, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve, something positive in my life, and what do I need to do and tune again to get back on that path? Because right now I'm taking myself off of it with this negative
so in a way
perception.
It's like you use self-reflection to awaken your awareness of what's dragging you towards the negative, and then you can steer yourself back by re-establishing your goals, your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions, to push you back into positivity.
Because I see awareness, if I'm using a analogy, it's almost like, we can talk about it in a car, but if someone's got a ship or a plane, let's talk about the ship, and you're sort of, steering it and you're going about your business. If you don't check on your radar or your map or whatever to see
where you're going.
The waves of life or whatever could be taking you off course.
Of course.
So sometimes that self-awareness is saying, hold on, I'm getting taken away from where my destination is, or wherever my goal is, or wherever, you know, just that being in a great place is. This thing is taking me away. Yeah. Everyone's got their different levels. How do I steer this thing back to get back on track? Yeah. Basically, and that's it. And that's the way that I see it. I always see it like that.
So I guess to anyone, in whichever way they see it, either like yourself or like myself, you have to be aware of it or self-reflect to be aware, and then consciously begin to say, I'm going to move myself out. Whether you say, I'm going to move myself out of this by refocusing my efforts on my goals, or I'm going to move myself out of it by, you know, either through something even more like, say, meditation or affirmations or something.
And then that's the next,
Or are you going to move yourself out of it by just saying, you know, I need to now work on myself. That's another one, isn't it? Well, I guess meditation, affirmations kind of work on yourself, but that's another thing of, I need to work on myself now to transition from a negative to a positive, or to view the situation, like we mentioned before, from a negative standpoint to a positive one.
And I think, because sometimes when we're negative, and to be honest, I think a majority of the time, if the mass population and you did a survey, don't quote me on this because it's just my assumption from working in the real world and stuff like that, I'd say more often than not, most people are mainly negative.
I think
there's a higher negative rate than there is a positive rate.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's...
And I think you can't help it. I think it's so easy to become negative unless you are constantly aware that I am, but you know, because as you said, there is so much negativity around that if you're not consciously aware of the difference between what is just life and negative life to positive life, you just become a part of it.
And you know what, like you talking about that is reminding me now, because I was talking about, or we might have discussed positivity more from, you know, the first thing I thought about was just, hey, me being positive with myself and things like that. Yeah. But I now recognize as well that when we're talking about external factors and people, and when you're in a working environment or stuff like that and things, the way that I stay positive within that type of space, because that's everyday life, you can't avoid it unless you're in isolation, is I tend to, because we talked about, there's things like affirmations, meditation, like if you meditate, and as well as that, gratitude for me is one that really, regardless of what was going on or bad news, it's like, what am I thankful for that I at least have? And that is then, we're now seeing, going back to what you said, the glass is half full rather than half empty. Yeah. Because when you focus on something like that, you automatically you're seeing life from a different point of view.
Absolutely.
Your perception changes, and it has to be more, well, let's say this, it's not negative at all. Even at most, it's neutral. Yeah. But most of the time, it'll be much more positive. Because when you come from a place like that,
I felt, it's glad you came up to this place right now with what you just said, because I felt by all means that one of the great triggers or, you know, tools you can use to transform yourself from a negative to positive is to start feeling a sense of gratitude, appreciation and thanks, isn't it? Because once you start introducing those types of sort of expressions, or even smiling, once you start introducing those types of expressions, thanks, gratitude, appreciation, even start smiling in your head about something that's going on that, you know, ordinarily you might cry about, those expressions empower you again to turn it around and start seeing things in a different light, or a better light, or a positive light. Those, I'm glad you mentioned, you know, gratitude, because these are powerful triggers that can immediately click you out of your low feeling or your negative thoughts and push you into positivity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it totally does. I think that's because here's the thing: when you're doing that, some people might go, "Oh, but what do I have to be thankful about?" Or what do I have to? And then we're now going back to, well, your perception is negative, isn't it? And you kind of catch yourself, or you can be aware now. And there is something, because I've seen, or we've heard stories of people in multiple conditions, whether it's physical ailments or deeper things or certain types of loss and things like that. But there is something to always be grateful for. Yeah,
and they've turned around.
Yeah. But if you're speaking to someone and they say, "Oh, but I can't think of anything," that's when you really need to focus and looking at your life and seeing the things you can be thankful for, even if it's not in your life as a total. Even through the day, sometimes you go, "Oh wow, I didn't really notice that."
One of the things, it's true. And one of the things I find, which you can say or do, if you find yourself like, if you feel like I can't, feel gratitude, I can't feel thanks over this situation, or, my relationship with this person, or, my sort of, my life as a whole, if you feel you can't find anything that you can say I'm thankful or grateful for, then ask yourself, what is the lesson I am being taught as part of this situation, as part of this thing? If you feel you can't steer yourself to positivity in the way that we described, I think the next step is to also ask yourself, what is my life lesson? What I'm going through, what am I supposed to learn from it? So you don't allow it to take over.
Yeah.
You start to ask yourself, what is, the learning that I'm supposed to undergo by what is happening, or what happened, or, the situation I'm in, whether it's, financial, or whether it's, self-created, or any form of negativity. You ask yourself, what is it that I'm supposed to learn? And then that question alone pulls you back to a thought process of self-reflection, bit of acknowledgement, and then you can restart yourself to go back forward and say, okay, if I'm supposed to be learning humility, or I'm supposed to learn how to have patience, or I'm supposed to learn how to whatever, you can then say, I know what this is teaching me, and I've understood, and I now feel I can go forward. Yeah. And then you move yourself positively. And
that's going back to what I was just saying like a few minutes back, when I was saying sometimes I see the bigger picture.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do sometimes. You have to see the bigger picture, because it makes things a bit more general, or it just reminds you that it's not about what's going on now, it's about who are you becoming, the growth that's going on, and ultimately what are you progressing towards
to being.
Because
and are you achieving your goals, like you said?
Exactly. Are you achieving your goals and so on? And sometimes it doesn't always have to be goals that are outside. It could be development goals within yourself, that you're trying to become a better person, or you're trying to get more in touch with yourself, and so on. So that's true. Sometimes I see the bigger picture. Maybe there's a sort of lesson here, and that's nothing to shy away from, because when you think about it in that sense, you could say, oh, I don't want to learn the lesson, I don't need that. And that's why most people, going back to it on a general level, remain negative, because when things do come up, you feel like a bit of a victim, you complain about it, you blame life, you blame everyone else, this and that, or this is what's happening. You start layering all this negativity on top of each other to the point that your negative wall is you can't break it down because it's too big. So I totally agree. Like, when negative things do happen, it's not that we don't acknowledge them. We do, but we still have a choice at the end of the day how we respond or react to it. That is totally is our responsibility. And sometimes it's more quicker to do it, sometimes it's longer, depending on how serious it is. But that is also a perception, because going back to what I said, two things can happen to the same thing can happen to two different people. But if one person is coming from a more positive place and the person that's negative, the outcome is totally different.
Absolutely, because of the way they perceived it.
So that's it.
And the choices they made
well
to change the outcome or how they view it. To move forward and to kind of turn any negative into a positive. Or if you see things from a more positive standpoint, you can say, I don't see it in that way. You know, so I can go forward now and achieve this or achieve that. You know how sometimes you have a sports person, and you know, some people think they're all washed up, and then you know, but to them, they understand themselves enough to know that whatever the situation, they can turn it into positives, and then they rise and return and come back even better than they were. You know, you see things like that in life, and you think, how do they? That's why I love sport, because it's like, how did they do that? How did they achieve that? You know, sometimes it's a team thing, sometimes it's an individual thing, but we have many examples of turning negative into positive in the, you know, I guess in the wider scope of life and the world around us. So you understand that it's really key, if you want to progress in life, if you want to succeed, if you want to achieve, that somewhere along the line you're going to have to turn anything negative into a positive, in whichever way you feel you can do it at your best. It's up to you.
It's up to you, because some people, I think most people, and when I say this, I'm not saying it as if it doesn't happen to me or whatever, but I'm just more aware, whereas the person, some people just aren't aware yet.
That's why I said in the beginning, exactly. Awareness is like a step.
It's massive. And
it's key.
Going back, some people, if they are negative, they're waiting on something, that external positive thing to happen, to then give them a reason or the permission to now go, well, I feel more positive now because this positive thing happened. But the problem with that is, once that positive thing stops, or it's happened and it's gone, or this and that, you then return to the basis of what your perception is.
Absolutely.
That's why you have to go back to what we said. You always got to go to the root. You always got to go to the base or the core of everything. Yeah,
and what you're saying reminded me of something I mentioned earlier in this episode, but I thought, we'll come back to it later, was when you have to also try and, as you said, about waiting for external things to happen or waiting for changes to take place as if they are out of your hands. But the truth is, if you can work on yourself and your perception and how you view things, you also kind of have the opportunity to sort of say, I can also overcome this from within. You know, like I mentioned a smile because, you know, it's like, well, that's one of the easiest things to switch your mood. And then once you kind of, even a smile, you can then say, let me think about this and let me view it from a more smiley, happier place. And then you can say, no matter what it is, even if it's very negative, you can ask yourself, let me see this from a smiley, happier place. Let me ask myself, what is the lesson I'm supposed to learn? And then you kind of, within you, feel more empowered and strengthened. And then you say, I'm beating this. I'm starting to turn this into something positive. And, you know, that's, you know, when I mentioned the smile a lot earlier on, that's what I meant come back to.
No, exactly. And also, if people want to hear more about that and everything, our happiness episode.
Yeah, we did a great one on
well,
that. Yeah, definitely go and watch that.
And other things to do to bring like happiness, you know, saying happiness on your own terms.
That's true.
And
as we said, it all kind of merges, doesn't it?
It does, and that's the beauty of it. Is that
it is a beauty
of
it.
the more simplified or the more things connect, the more easier it is to do, because it's all sort of links in the same chain. Exactly, and that's what makes it powerful.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know about you guys, but you know, once you start becoming positive, you start to also change the external around you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we spoke about the external changing for you. Once you come from a better place, you start to change from your positive energy. You start to change the external around you and the things happening around you. And then all of a sudden, better things are happening. You know, greater things are happening. More positive things are happening because you're being positive.
And you'll find as well, and this is the this is what I feel to be a bit true, if I'm honest. You spend time with a negative person for a while.
Yeah.
And you will see that even if you don't want it to, your thoughts or perceptions of this and that will start to have a bit of tinge more of negativity.
Yeah.
Most people that aren't aware will get sucked into it.
But
even when you're aware, you're thinking, you start to the thoughts in your mind, everything are going, it starts to get a bit negative, this and that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if you hang around someone who's positive and bubbly, this and that, it even brings out a better attitude and perception.
Yes, infectious.
That's more,
it?
So that just shows how powerful the sort of the inward perception can be.
Sure.
And sometimes people wait for someone else to bring them there or don't. But as you said, if you can nurture your own, you're gonna start to have, and you're gonna start to see positive things appear on the outside. Because the funniest thing about your brain and your mind, wherever you focus on, is wherever you're going to really find.
And create.
And create. And most people just focus where the general are going, this and that. But if you really work on yourself and you really make that effort to go, and going back to the gratitude thing, when you're making a conscious effort to focus on what can I be thankful for, what can I be thankful for, then you keep doing that, you're going to start going through your day and then go, oh, that's the thing to be thankful for. Oh, that's the thing to be thankful for. So right there, you've switched that around. So that's the thing. It's a very interesting thing, but it's all inner, because when you're waiting on that positive things from the outside to make you more positive, you lose. And when you come from working on yourself and then you're looking for things to be about, you rewire yourself on a more of a mind level to start to notice things to be more think about. So your perception is also changing by doing that.
Absolutely. Gosh, I mean, it is the power you have to change things, to, you know, to turn things around. If you can sort of find it within yourself to be responsible for that change and be responsible for those things, not feel as if they're all controlling you. That you have the power to control those situations and circumstances around you that are pulling you negatively in one direction. Once you feel that, gosh, you know, I can turn this around. I can, you know, once you start feeling those feelings and you turn them into positive, you'll be unstoppable. And that's the feeling you should feel after kind of listening to all these things that we're saying. You should feel unstoppable and say, you know what, I can handle any situation and I can overcome it.
No, it's true, you know, because
and push forward.
Because that feeling of feeling unstoppable is because nothing can stop you. And that's the main thing. And the beautiful thing about that is, unless you choose to stop yourself. You know what I mean? But nothing, when you're unstoppable in that respect, as you said, nothing can outside of you can
actually stop you.
And that's the truth.
Because you believe it and you're
put the brakes on ourselves or do any of that, or
we
make
can
it
often be our own worst
reverse
enemy
button or whatever. Yeah, but that's true. You should feel unstoppable because ultimately you are the
it
one
lies
who stops
with you
and starts.
Yeah, because remember, you have the perception, you have you know, it's all in your hands ultimately, isn't it? So there we go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this amazing episode that we've had on positivity and staying positive. And no matter where you are in life, make sure that you focus on the positives and keep that positive energy flowing towards you, and keep it flowing as part of your life as well.
And that's it. Like, no matter where you are, don't wait to be in the right situation or something like that to then say, oh well, I'll feel positive when my situation's better. You can do it now, and it's sometimes it's a bit more challenging, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. It means you just got to dig deeper, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you're gonna learn more about yourself, you're gonna grow more, and you're gonna take such a big turn that you won't need to look back. You'll take leaps and bounds forward. And that's the main thing. So I totally agree. Enjoy it. Start to take a step on a more positive path.
And everything will change for you. You know, from this day, the minute you start seeing things positively, everything will change.
And what I'll just add to that lastly is, don't think, oh, I'm either 100% negative or I'm 100% positive. Even if you're 60% positive,
it's better.
You'll still be fine, because you're tipping out of the negative. Like, this is a process. So don't think
absolutely.
it's like, oh, I was positive this day, oh, now I'm negative, oh, no, that's just
there's
rubbish.
a lot in between.
There's a lot
that you can work on and move towards.
As there was a book that had this title, and it's true. There's the messy middle, and that's the bit where you figure it out. You know, you start something and you got your destination, but you're figuring it out. It's never linear. Sometimes it takes ups and downs, curves and bouts, and that's the messy middle. But you have to go through that to get to the end.
And we're transitioning in life all the time, so
that's it. So it's just fluctuation.
That's and don't beat yourself up if you think, hang on a minute, you know, I've been a very negative person, I can't get out of it. Take your time, but your awareness starts you on that path to change.
That's it. All you want is your peaks to be more than your valleys. That's what you want, and as long as you do that, it will outbalance the negative, and
that's true.
You'll be more positive.
That's true.
Don't try and aim for the 100%. This that, like, aim for it if you want, but I'm saying don't feel not good enough or something if you don't get it. It's just about being more.
It's a process.
And it's about 60, 70, 80%. That's still fine.
That's good enough.
Because negative things do happen, but your perception is what changed the outcome.
That's true.
Ultimately.
So, guys, definitely don't forget to leave your comments for us and let us know how you're going. Let us know if, you have had to transition into, a more positive zone. What did that do for you? How did you feel? How did you do it? How did you achieve it? Has anything we've said helped you get to that place? And if so, please let us know. And you don't need to leave a life story, but we do want to know those little nuggets of information. It helps support us in what we're doing in terms of saying, people want to hear this, people want to hear that, so let's do more episodes on it. So keep us going. And you normally say the other bits, don't you?
And sure. And like, if you like this, then feel free to check out all of our other episodes as well, where we talk about more positive things as well. And check them out. Obviously, if you like this episode, then give it a like, a thumbs up. And if you aren't already subscribed but want to know about anything that we bring out in the future regarding more positive episodes and information, then feel free to subscribe and join as well.
And we just want to say thanks for joining us again for another episode, and you do the usual.
So this is us right now. We're done. MumNSon. See you on the next one. Take it easy.
Bye.